Good evening, everybody. It's me, Comic Crack. Something that it might turn out that I do on a weekly basis. Who would have guessed? A quick focus today on two books that I received in the mail today from our friends at Domino Books. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Quite a while back, I grabbed, in one of my previous Domino Books orders, I grabbed this Department of Art issue number 1 from Sparkplug Comics. And I apologize in advance for butchering names. Dunja Jankovic or Dunya Jankovic. I apologize. There's the names there for you. And I was really taken by this book. I thought it was a lot of fun. There was a bunch of different art styles going on. And I sort of regretted not just grabbing both of the issues at once back then. So recently, I kind of got reminded of the Crooked Teeth series by Nate Doyle that we'll look at next. And doing some hunting for two of the issues that I was missing, 7 and 8, seeing that they were kind of low print runs, kind of selling out all over the place. So I thought I'd jump on grabbing those. So while I did, I eventually went to Domino. I checked out a couple of other sites, but the shipping was kind of intense. More so than usual at some of the spots. So I went back to Domino and put together an order and got the second issue. It's called Habitat, but it's kind of part of the same series. I think this was 2011, possibly. Let me have a look here. Yeah, 2011 is the date that it has in the back here. Habitat is a sequel of Department of Art, which came out from Sparkplug in 2008. And this, I think I might enjoy this one even better than the previous one. For starters, it's a little thicker, probably almost double the size. But the kind of artistic styles that are on display in this book, they seem to run the gamut even more than in Department of Art. So this one is kind of focused on living spaces from what I can gather. There seems to be a little bit of there's this animated movie. It's not the only one that does this kind of style. Malice in Wonderland, I think it's called, where the animation kind of shifts, and as the figures kind of morph, they turn into other figures. There's a bit of a sense of that running through this one, as different living spaces, your focus gets drawn to another space, things keep moving, and that's sort of what propels you through the story. Story such as it is, I'd say story very loosely. I love this page here. I think this is an incredible display of a couple of different styles here, and I really like the word balloons and the lettering in that as well too. So it sort of morphs from space to space. This first one is a building where I guess the people that live upstairs from you, wherever you live, they're tasked with the job of collecting rent from you. I can only assume Chaos and Comics Twitter message coming through. Very funny. I can only assume that if you don't collect the rent, something horrible will happen. It's never really talked about, but there's this implication. This panel is fantastic. But again, the thing that impresses me the most about this are these different styles and kind of storytelling methods going on here. Here's one of those transitions, I guess. So we have our character kind of drifting off and relaxing, and then there's a focus on these ants that are on the wall, and that turns us into looking at this ant colony with a gigantic queen. pooping out kinfolk. Yeah, it's amazing. It has kind of Mark Bell, I guess, kind of flavor to it, if I'm remembering the name correctly. But it also has this kind of print quality to it. Like these are all kind of stamps, you know what I mean? And there's some mixed media in here that looks like it's really hard to tell. It looks like it's an image kind of fucked with and layered in the background there. Love this book. I absolutely love this. Not much else to say about it. Like I said, there isn't a lot to talk about story-wise here, or at least on first read there isn't. Tylox, how are you doing, man? At least on first read there isn't, but I feel like this is something that I'm going to revisit. Almost a bit of a Jim Woodring type of shapes there. These 2 pages I thought were amazing. So I don't know how well it's showing up on video, but this is some layers of paper kind of cut out and put into a panel. Very basic graphic design for water. And the thing that blows me away here is this. So we have our figure above water and kind of seeing that distorted image underwater, his legs. And as he kind of bends down to look into the water, you get that distorted image moving through there, which is outstanding stuff. Yeah, this is well worth your time, well worth picking up. Like I said, I grabbed this from Domino Books, and it's called Habitat. So that's that one. But on to kind of the main reason I placed this order at Domino was for these 2 issues of Crooked Teeth. Crooked Teeth 7 is one that I already had. There's the second part of a story in here called Blood and Thunder that I just so thoroughly enjoyed. And these other issues don't disappoint, which is kind of what sparked the idea of doing this video. So Nate Doyle is a creator who has been doing comics for, it seems like, forever. The first 5 issues of Crooked Teeth, I think, are long out of print and just not available anywhere. Also part of the reason I wanted to jump on these while I still could before they're gone. He has done multiple printings of some of this later stuff. I think, was this a 3rd printing here? Yeah, 3rd printing, summer of 2020 for Crooked Teeth number 6. I think this is a 2nd printing here, possibly a 2nd printing for number 7 as well too. So I don't know much about the guy himself. I did send him an email today just to kind of say, holy fuck, man, I love your comics. Keep them coming. I need to know what happens next with Blood and Thunder, which we'll look at in a second. So I get the impression that Nate is a traveling musician. He talks about having many different careers. So the intro here, welcome to issue number 6 of Crooked Teeth, 6 years since number 5. So this is someone who clearly has a lot of other stuff going on in life that this is not even close to the only thing that he does with his day-to-day. So 6 years between issues. And then I think it's kind of speeded up since. Let's see. 2010 to 2016. Okay. And then we'll look. So I guess the first printing of this one came out in 2016. So it's kind of a one-man anthology. We get some also just kind of like pin-up art as well too. I again love his style. I love the character design here. This one is kind of almost a natural riff on Crumb's Stoned Again, as we get these 2 friends who are sitting around getting high and getting literally pulled into the television. It feels like there's a real familiarity to this style here. So I guess when I say one-man anthology, now that I'm looking at it, yes, they're different short stories, but I believe these are still the 2 same main characters that we see in our Blood and Thunder story, which is coming up. But these expressions and the facial features are amazing to look at here. as they kind of come back out of the TV and go, fuck it, let's smoke another bowl. And then some pinups. Short story, The Have-Nots. Yeah, starring Miriam. So that is one of our main characters from the Blood and Thunder book. And this story is about a photo album that she finds on the street as she's making her way to work, and kind of steals some moments at work to flip through and kind of eavesdrop almost on an unknown couple's happily married life, and has her kind of analyzing her surroundings and how she's going to feel about her life the older she gets. Really, really nice. So yeah, here we go. So Miriam and Everett are our two main characters, and this is Blood and Thunder issue, or part 1 rather. So our main character Everett is being bullied by some guys at school, some local toughs. And for me, coming into this story, since I haven't read the first 5, maybe there is more about their lives in the previous 5 issues. But for me, coming into this, I'm coming in pretty fresh and dry, so I don't know any backstory that may have been presented in other issues. I get the sense, though, that this is the first time that he's done kind of a continuing story throughout these, that the rest of the issues were kind of these standalone mini stories, short stories, artwork. So at this point, we don't know anything about Everett's previous life. We don't know anything about Miriam's life. So the thing that's impressive to me about this story and his writing in general is his ability to kind of, he really knows how to pace a story. This first chapter here lays out so much information about this guy's life, being bullied by these fucking jackoffs. And then kind of just gives you enough information and leaves it off at a point where I can't imagine the wait between issues, especially if it is years. This was great to kind of sit and read all at once. I'm hoping at some point, if this ever does get completed, it gets collected, because I think this deserves a collected edition, at least from these first 3 parts anyway. So he gets bullied and he gets sucker punched, gets a bleeding nose, comes back to see Miriam. It's Friday night and they decide, screw it, we're going to go out to the bar. The local hoodlums are going to go to that same bar because they just want to fuck them up some more. So you do get the sense already of some danger that's going to happen. And they sort of wait to be able to ambush him in the bathroom, to which they do smash his face and they beat the ever-loving shit out of him, laying the boots to him. Laying the boots to him as he just lies on the floor, and then they piss on him, of course. So she comes in to break it up and is left with him on the ground. And we kind of cut to, I'm assuming the next day. There's not really a timeline. This might be a few days later. This might be a week later. Actually, it's probably more than a day later. And as he kind of gets on his bike and goes to his shop, his family's mechanic shop, he sees his uncle who's waiting for him, who we find out is part of a biker gang called the Vulgars. And so then we start to get a little bit of a history and a sense of him and his world. And he basically says, you know, like, you didn't talk to the cops. You didn't tell anybody. We did find out what happened. My suggestion to you is that you and Miriam get out of town. Don't ask any questions. I'm here now. Me and my friends are going to take care of this situation. And it's handled very just matter-of-factly. And him and Miriam get the fuck out of town to go to see another friend of the family. Is kind of their destination to see if he can help, because he's a little nervous that his uncle and friends are going to kill these kids. And that's kind of where we leave it on the road, moving. I don't want to talk too much about the second and third part, but I did want to give you a nice peek at that. We'll check out some of the art as well. So once I finished that one, I revisited issue number 7 just to kind of continue the story and remind myself of what happened in this second story. He does this really nice job in these issues of just giving you this sort of snapshot, this collaged kind of snapshot of previously in, type of thing, right? With some lettering. Looks like it's pulled straight out of a sketchbook, which is great. So Blood and Thunder Part 2. And of course, a little write-up that he always gives of what's been going on. So this one is 2018. So 2 years later for this Crooked Teeth number 7. And we kind of just pick up exactly where we have left off. We get a little bit of previously on. And then we jump right into the story. And again, I'm not going to show you too much here, but do want to give you a taste of some of the art. We also learned quite a bit about Miriam's past in this issue as well. That really adds another dimension to it. So give you a shot of that there. Great. This is the one that I've talked about before. And then finally tonight, Crooked Teeth number 8. And let's have a look. So this is a second printing as well too, and in it he includes a note that apparently there was some problems with the second printing. The first story, Progeny of Time, was originally printed in red, and then Blood and Thunder Part 3 was printed in black. He talks about there was an issue with it due to a mishap. The whole comic ended up a little blue. Apologies for the misprint, but here you go. I think it's kind of neat. And I agree, there's only one part where it's a bit of a flashback scene that maybe when it was supposed to be printed in black, that particular flashback was more like gray. But because it kind of did this misprint, it's just borderline illegible. But what do we have here for a year? Does it even say? Just signs it there. I'm not seeing a year. 2019 is what I want to guess at, like a year later, but I'm not seeing it there. So there's another sort of pinup, and then he goes into the first of 2 stories here, which seems more of like a stream of consciousness kind of expressive kind of story going on with some of his art. It didn't work for me as much, but again, I think it deserves a reread for sure, because again, my head was fully into wanting to read a third part of Blood and Thunder, and it's a little bit of Paul Popish to his faces as well, to that face especially is looking like it, but very bold lettering, nice. And again, like stuff like this, I think the color works really nicely on this 2-page spread there. And our story just keeps continuing. We're getting to hear more about Nate's past with these people that he's living with. This is such a good intro. We get kind of each of our main characters waking up to start the day, and all of them have a moment of kind of like just taking a deep breath and exhaling. So they're staying with these people that live by the ocean, and we get at the bottom of each page these waves crashing as they're kind of starting to kind of move and take a big breath to kind of calm themselves down. We get the crashing of the waves a number of times here. So here's our husband and wife, and same thing, kind of realizing what's going on and taking a deep breath, and the crash of the waves. Really nice. Yeah, it's like a blue ink there, Tylox. Yeah. It's really, again, like he's got such a handle on storytelling, and it seems to come naturally. I mean, yes, there's 100% a lot of work that goes into this, and I guess with the time that's spent between the issues, I'm sure there's some working and reworking, but I feel like his story flows so beautifully. I don't find myself bored. I really every single page is an absolute page turner. Even though this is just a lot of kind of backstory and memories and things, it's I'm 100% engaged in these characters and wanting to know more about their lives. So, I mean, I can't praise it enough. I don't want to praise it too much, but it's probably too late for that. Yeah, so there you go. That's Crooked Teeth, issue number 6, 7, and 8, all from picked up from Domino Books, and then Department of Art and Habitat. Um, well worth picking up. If you don't know Domino Books, check out their website. Yeah, I mean, support these comics, man. You won't regret it. Really great stuff. Tylox, thanks for hanging out, and we'll talk to you all later.